Welcome to Canvas Workspace, the downloaded version. I'm going to have a quick tour of what's in Canvas Workspace. So the first thing you see on your screen is the mat. Now the mat has a grid on it that is exactly like your grid on your mat that you put your paper and cardstock and vinyl on that goes in your scanner cut. You can see the grid pattern. Up the top here in the left you can see File, Edit, Layer, Display, Premium and Help. So go into the File menu, just click on it and drop it down. And the choices are New. The very first one you see is New. And that will give you a new blank mat. So if you click on that one, it will just start up a new session with a blank mat there. Opens the next one. Open will open a CWPRJ file, which is a Canvas Workspace project file. Now those project files are only able to be used in Canvas Workspace, so you can't actually upload them to your scan and cut. So keep that in mind. They will not be read by your scan and cut, so there's no good putting it on your USB and transferring it to your machine. You can transfer it from Canvas Workspace and it converts it on the way through to the machine cleverly. The next one is Open Recent. So you can see there when it pops out, I've got a few projects that I've created and it'll get you back to those projects pretty quickly and easily. Then you've got Save and Save As. Give it a new name. Save as if you've already got a project created, and up the top here it will say the name normally, whatever you've called it, and then it will just keep saving. So you make a change or a few changes and you want to save it, you just go to the Save here and it will update that file, whereas Save As will save it from scratch. Import from your computer. Now that will bring in any FCM or SVG file. It will also, I'll just click on it, it will also bring in JPEGs, GIFs, PNG and BMPs. So those last four are all picture files. They are not cut files. The first two, the FCM and SVG, are cut files. The last four are not. They're only picture files for you to do some design work around. So don't try to cut those out. They won't cut. You can trace them and we'll go into that later on in the courses. So FCM or SVG is fine, and you can see that there's two in that folder there that could be opened. Back in here, and import from your cutting machine. So it gives you the option to bring in from your cutting machine an FCM file or a scanned image, and then you can work from there. So the scanned image you can trace. Just say you've got some shapes that you want for your card, making cards, stamped images perhaps. You could scan them and bring them into Canvas Workspace and make any changes you need to, and then cut them out. Another thing you might do is if you're having trouble cutting out around a shape, a particular shape, even like business cards or something like that, you're cutting business cards, you can scan them, bring them in, create boxes around so it will cut around where you want to cut, and then send it back to the machine and the machine will cut it out for you. And FCM, so if you've created something, a design, something from some of the picture files that are designs are already on your machine, you can send it back to Canvas Workspace and then do some more designing with it. Export FCM. So export FCM will convert your CWPRJ file and allow you to send it if you've got something on the mat. I just popped something on the mat so it thinks it's doing something it's meant to. Let's try that again. So export FCM. They're smart enough to know that there was nothing there. Smarter than we are. So you export FCM so you can bring it in and you can see it save as type FCM. So you'd give it a name, find where you wanted to save it. If you've got a USB, if you connect via USB, then you would find your USB device here on the left and save it there. And then you can take it over to your machine and upload it. So transfer via the internet. So transfer SCM file via the internet. So I'll click on that. And then it says this file has been transferred successfully, basically. That's your successful message. And if you've got a DX, you have the option of connecting your DX via a USB cable to your scan and cut. And then this bottom one will allow you to send your projects between the two via the cable. So the next menu along is the edit menu. Now the edit menu is very similar functions as the edit menu here on the right. And it's not a light, nothing much is happening. I'll click on that, things come available. Change the sizing in the edit, and the same in the edit here. You can undo and redo, which says undo and redo as well, so you wouldn't probably go to the edit menu, just click on these ones. But it's there if you need it. Cut, copy, paste, select all and deselect all. Line operations, most of these are greyed out because I haven't got that highlighted. Let me just click on that and highlight it so I've got a bit more visibility. Line operations, so you can change your line, cut and draw. Resize, flip. You get the option to flip horizontal and flip vertical. And you've got that same option. If you look over to the right, you can see transform, angle and flip. They're both there as well. And also the resize is just above it. Align, this is a handy one, I align everything. Because there's only one object on the mat, that align is greyed out because there's nothing to align. If you have two objects highlighted on the mat, that will become active, and then you can choose between the various align functions that are available. And you can see them on the right greyed out just below the flip and angle. Process overlap features are there, so you will divide, remove overlap and subtract. So they are also further down on the right. Fit to path, convert to shape and create offset line. Create offset lines, fun thing. I love create offset, so that's a great one to have. The layer also is on the right there. You can see duplicate, delete, show hide, lock, unlock, group. Group's very handy. And your arrange, you can bring to the front, bring to the back, send to the back. We'll go over some of those later in the sessions. Display is all your zooms, and you change your units from inches to millimetre in here, and also hide your map. Most of these functions are over here in the artboard, just there on the right. Premium functions will show you what you've purchased. And help. Now help is a really handy one to pop out. It's got a couple of quick guides. Brothers tutorials are a little basic, so wander through them if you're looking for something in particular, but overall they're a little bit basic. Got some options for changing the language settings. Check for updates. If you click on that, it'll go away and check to see if you've got the latest version of the software. And you can actually check box it to make sure you've always got the latest. And you can just go OK. So that's telling me I've got the latest. Let's go back in here. And account settings. So I'll just go into this. So this gives you the ability to register your machine in here. So it's got user information settings, and you can put a few bits and pieces in there. It's got my login ID for Canvas. Your machine registration, you can do that in here. Pattern collection activation. So when you purchase a pattern or a USB pattern from Brother, they'll give you an activation code, and this is where this goes. So you can pop it in here and activate. And if you scroll down, I haven't got any activated because I make most of my own designs, it would give you a list of what you had purchased. And the same for the premium functions. Now premium functions, and I'll scroll down a little bit, you'd put your activation code in here just the same and activate. So they've got a rhinestone kit. You can see I've purchased the printable sticker kit. not overly enthused. I don't use it very much. But then I do a lot of my own work. Stamp, embossing, foiling, enhanced image tracing and roll feeder and paper piercing. You can see those last two are both just only for the Scan and Cut DX models, so they're not available for the CM models. And I notice that the calligraphy is not on here. So they've got that additional package you can purchase as well. So across the top here, you've got your undo and redo, and also your select tool, which is the one that your little pointer looks like that, and you just click and that works there like that. So you can highlight and deselect things with it, move them with that tool. The hand tool, I don't know if you can see it because I know I'll have a little pink highlighter around my mouse so you can see where I'm pointing. However, it's a little hand, and when you click the left mouse button, the hand shuts. It's very cute. The hand shuts and it grabs the mat. And you can actually move the mat around if you need to. So then you've got your zoom function. So this one here, when you click on it, you can highlight a spot on the mat. So I want that particular area to be up close. We'll go up to 1,000. You can see 1,000 there. That's as far as it will go, which is pretty close. And you can also use your up and down arrows to change the size. So you can zoom right out, or you can actually highlight that and go back to how it was, whatever zoom you want. Say I've got it at 50 there, so I wanted 200. Hit the enter key, and there's your 200. I'll go back to 50 because that's a good one for showing you everything on the mat. So across the top, because this is highlighted, if this wasn't, I'll just get my select tool back up. It works much better with the select tool. So this is highlighted, so it's given you some options along the top here, some additional options. If it's not highlighted, they're gone. So those options will only apply to, if you had half a dozen items on the mat, it would only apply to the option that is selected, the selected options. So you've got cut and draw. You also have that in these sections up here, and over to the right you've got the panel for cut and draw. You can fill that with colour. Just pop a bit of colour in there. Lots of choices. You can define your colour a bit more accurately if you want to. It's more of a design feature. It has nothing to do with how it cuts out. Absolutely nothing. And often when I'm designing, I don't like to have colour. So when I do tutorials, I'll pop colour in so everyone can see kind of what's going to look like and where we're going with it. But when I'm designing, I don't put, and you can just undo that. It's gone. When I'm designing, I like to see where my lines are going to meet up, where they are aligning with the grid, those sort of features which you can't see with the fill colour. But that's okay because I don't mind working with the fill colour. Now I can either go back and refill that, or I can just redo. I'll pop the colour back in. This one here is for the line colour, so the outside line. And there's a few reasons why you would change the outside line colour as well. You can change the point size. It's a design feature. It does not make it cut any thicker, so don't be misled by that. And this one here will change your lines. And see, now I don't want that coloured because you won't be able to see what I'm doing. So once it's highlighted, it's up there again. And you can choose cut or a variety of dashed lines. So if I do a score line type scenario, I would choose that. And you'll see, I'll just zoom into that. You can see there's some dashed lines there. And later on in this series, I will show you how to use those lines there. The dashed line, they come in handy. So we'll put that back to normal cut and the properties panel. Mainly the properties panel, most of those features. Most of those features along here are in this property panel. So you can see your fill colour, cut and draw. On the right here, we've got the ability to bring the Free Brother Canvas projects back up. We've got shapes. There's a heap of shapes. We'll use some of those shapes within the session here. Some borders. And they make a good addition to when you're making cards and things. There's some words. Baby's a good one. I don't use many of the words because I make my own, but happy birthday I've used. This happy birthday I've used. It's not bad. The join one's probably more worth it than some of the others. This one would probably be quite good. We'll just pop that on the map. Scroll over so we can see it a bit better. Get rid of that. So that'd be an interesting little cutout just on its own. You can see it's just lined up with the red dots. So if you just move it out from the red dots, anything that is slightly over the dashed red line you'll get an error message when you try and send it to your scan and cut. So just be very careful, even if it's only the tiniest little piece. So if you're feeling a bit frustrated that it's not going over to your machine, look closely at where the red dashed line is. So we'll pop that back. And then you've got the text tool. So we'll be using the text tool in this series. The import SVG is the same as the import from your computer up here. And we've got the trace function where we're looking to trace. Path tool we'll use, and the freehand path tool, which I probably won't go into in this session. And on the right we've got the properties panel, which is all greyed out until you click on something that comes alight. Everything's alive or activated that you can change. So we want to draw that instead. Now it's a draw line. You can see it's changed up here as well. Draw line, draw line. Layers, you can see there's two layers. There's this layer, and if you click on this, that activates that. So you can see that this one is a draw and this one is a cut. You can also see that the toggle there is an eye. So if you don't want to send both of those to the mat, you hide one and you can send this one to the mat and then hide the other. Send that to the mat. And you've also got a lock feature. So I've locked that now. Can't do anything with that design whatsoever. And there's reasons why you would lock that, and we'll go over that feature as well in this series. And the artboard, which gives you the size changes. You can change 12 by 12 and 12 by 24 in this one. The units to millimetres or inches, whichever you prefer. Whether you show the ruler, you can see that when you click on show ruler, it brings the ruler up there. So you can work out where you actually are. Say you're designing, actually move your grid exactly in the right spot. And show matte image takes that border around away. Put it back. So that one's showing it, that one's taking it away. Show grid will take the grid pattern away. Sometimes if you want to see it a little clearer, I use the grid a lot for aligning and making sure everything's sitting correctly. But I sometimes take snapshots, and also I just have a little problem seeing properly and there's dotted lines. I will remove the grid. Snap to grid just turns the grid snapping on and off. I use it a great deal, that one. And you can actually change the spacing of your grid if you want to. So you can see the grid pattern is getting bigger. However, I don't change that very much. I leave it on 1 because that, and you can make it smaller. It's once again, it's just a design feature if you need it to help you to design something and you need that pattern to get things more precise, you would change it. However, your grid on your mat that goes into your scan and cut is that setting, and that's the one I normally leave it on. Okay, well that's a quick tour, and I'll see you in the next session.